continue to do that.
We want to get these calls in. Harry from Tampa, Florida, Democrat. You're on with Congressman Dennis Kucinich.
Good morning, Peter. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning.
You're one of the best congressmen. Anyway, I want to ask you to help me with this thought process here. It seems to me when you talk, it's so common sense. And I ask myself, how come people aren't getting it? How come it's just common sense. It's just, it's a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old can get most of this stuff. So I ask myself, who's stopping this? Because it's not getting through. Who's stopping it? And to me, it comes down to, it has to be the people that have an interest against these common sense approaches. And the interest groups have to be these corporations or these people that are making money that are being affected by these common sense approaches.
You know, I often wonder why, thank you for calling, I often wonder why it is that common sense doesn't seem to work in Washington. Our government has essentially been turned into a machine that takes all the wealth which people produce in America, accelerates it to the top. Our tax system is about that. Takes all the tax dollars that people have and makes sure it's redistributed to people who already have a lot. Our energy policies are about taking money from, you know, tens of millions of people and giving it to a few. The profits in the energy industry are extraordinary. Our monetary system, banking, is set up that way. You know, our system, our economic system, has some fundamental flaws in it, which relate to, which inevitably create circumstances where the middle class is having trouble surviving. And so the American dream is that you can have a home, be able to send your children to college, have some retirement security. That dream's getting destroyed right now, and it's all because, Peter, the way I see it, the mechanisms of government are just set up to take the wealth of America and put it into the hands of a few. And that's what war's about, by the way. And so you know, I stand for jobs for all, healthcare for all, education for all, and peace. And I think that's doable. I don't think it's impractical. I grew up in the city of Cleveland, the oldest of 7. My parents never owned a home. You know, we rented, and as we kept moving as the family grew. I lived in 21 places by the time I was 17, including a couple cars. Now, many of you have heard this story, but the reason why I mention it again is that, you know, I don't come from a background where I'm out of touch with what people have to go through. And I see, having been in government and being in Washington now for 7 terms, in my 8th term as a member of Congress, the whole place is about taking the wealth of a nation and giving it to a few. That's what health care is about. You know, the $1 out of every $3 goes for the for-profit system. Wall Street would love to get its mitts on Social Security. Look, it's always a constant battle here to try to protect the interest of the broad-based economic interests of the American people. Very difficult endeavor every day.
Final call for Congressman Kucinich, Rome, Georgia, Rosemary, Independent Line. You are on.
Good morning.
Hi.
As I'm sure you already know, Mr. Bernanke stated in his testimony yesterday, quote, energy prices have only risen 1%, end quote. Yet Georgia Power here notified me last month my monthly bill would increase 13% effective immediately. How does Congress reconcile Mr. Bernanke's inaccurate or false statements?
Well, maybe what he meant is that there isn't only 1% for him. Look, the gentlelady from Rome, Georgia, points out something that all Americans are aware of. The cost of utility rates are going up dramatically. Whether you heat with oil or you have gas or electric, you're paying more. The cost of gas, fuel, is going up and keeps going up. People are experiencing sharp increases in their cost of living. Mr. Bernanke, you know, and thank him for his service to the Fed, but the fact of the matter is he doesn't have to live with the reality that most Americans have to live with. If he had any understanding of the fact that people are desperate to hold on to their jobs, to have a decent wage, to have health care, to make sure they have some retirement security, make sure they can send their children to school, and these practical aspirations. if the Fed was really in touch with that, the policies would be different. But they're not supposed to be in touch with that. What they're about is making sure that the economy works for a few. And they do that well, but they don't do it. They don't really fulfill an obligation to the general public. That's not their charge. They were about managing the affairs of the monetary system for the benefit of the few at the expense of the many. And that's a fact.
Congressman Dennis Kucinich has been our guest for the last 45 minutes on the Washington Journal. As always, we appreciate your coming over here and talking with our callers.
It went fast. And Peter, thank you. And I want to thank everyone who called in. If you didn't get through, maybe we'll have a chance to do it again. Thank you.